Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's bet on it. How is everybody doing today? We are here for another episode, and today we are finally getting an opportunity to talk about the new Speed Champion sets that you are going to be able to get from Lego.com and wherever Lego is sold. And today, I'm really excited to talk about these because they were a different kind of build that I was not really expecting, honestly. I was like, oh, this is different. This is fun. This is not the typical what I would expect of Speed Champions, but it most definitely is kind of like Speed Champions. So let's go ahead and jump into these. First up, we have the 007 Aston Martin DB5 76911. This thing has 298 pieces and retails for $20 here in the US or €25. It's a great set. It's a beautiful set, and there's just a lot to it. Plus, we get new pieces. New pieces, right? Everybody loves new pieces. So let's talk about what we have. The overall build of this car was exquisite. I really like the rounded body style to it. We don't get a whole lot of that. We get aggressive lines and aggressive, angles and stuff like that with more of the modern Speed Champion stuff. We don't get all this smooth detail that you used to see with some of the older cars and stuff like that. Speed Champions aside, just cars in general, everything is, you got to have these crazy lines and stuff like that. Some cars that come off of the line, I know they're prototypes and stuff like that, but they are very much like they're a prototype. They have nothing else. They probably may never get made. It's like the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie's not a car that is going to be used for racing, but obviously it's going to sell. But my point simply being is there's just something quaint about a car like this that has the look of this. It's just different, and I like it, and it fits with Speed Champions. Like, it doesn't scream speed to me. Like, I don't look at this and I say, oh my gosh, this thing is going so fast. No, it's more like this thing is kind of putting down the road compared to its compatriots, but hey, whatever. So what do you have? Well, you've got a lot of good stuff here. Not only do you have a weird looking front end, this front end can actually float, by the way. Like, it's ghostly in the way that it floats. Like, there's a ghost inside lifting up the hood on the front. But to be able to get the angle in the front, that thing is clipped into place. Obviously, that's what they like to do a lot of the time. You do have a 1x6 brick that is printed here. You have a 1x4 that is printed here. There are stickers in this, which, all Speed Champions have some amount of stickers, but there's a lot of printed goodness in here. So to be able to get the radiator grill in the front, you needed that print because it needed to be almost seamless, and putting two stickers in that position would have almost been impossible. You have an air duct here in the front as well. Your headlights are on an interesting piece. It's on a 1x1 brick, but is way modified. It's rounded in the front and squared off on the sides. The beautiful light print that they have here. I really like the way that is done. Down in the front, you have your license plate, your A426900. That is a sticker. And then on adjacent sides of that, what you end up having, you have something kind of funky, honestly. You have you have cow horns here, which are not what I quite expected. You also have some other prints here on the 1x1 plates that are used here underneath the main headlight for running lights or whatever you want to call them. But I really like the way the front end of this thing looks. It looks aggressive. It looks great. It's really smooth. It's okay. I'm going to use this word. I don't use this word very often with Lego, but this thing is sexy. It exudes just love. Like, I just want to cuddle it. I love it so much. I just absolutely love the way this thing is done from top to bottom. And the other DB5, the big one, wasn't a big giant fan of, but I really like this scale. There's something about it. It's like a Matchbox Hot Wheels type size for me. Obviously, it's not the same scale, but that's what it feels like in comparison to the other one. So I really enjoy it. So as we move down the sides here, we do have some other things. You have the DB5 logo that is a sticker as well that is down kind of where you would have your ground effects. So there's your running boards down on the side, down below where the doors would be. You have some what are supposed to be some outlets here for, I guess, the air, however the engine works and stuff like that. Those are stickers. Your door handles are stickers, sadly. I know, right? And then as we move further back, again, we've got this nice, smooth, soft shaping here, this rounded body. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. As we get back to the rear end of this thing, we're talking about the very rear end here. We do have 1x2 tiles that are rounded on each end, and they have the print of the lights on the rear. You have orange, you have red, and then you have what is supposed to be white. I'm assuming those are supposed to be white. Anyway, so you have a pair of those. You have the same sticker that you have in the front. You have the Aston Martin logo sticker that is back here just below the rear canopy. And then there's also another DB5 sticker back here as well. You know, I wish it was really good with my sticker placement. I really kind of suck. It's really disappointing. I wish I was better. I just definitely am not. Now, unlike many other speed champions, what you have here, and by the way, the quote-unquote exhaust pipes in the rear are the same as they are in the front. The cow horns that are in there, those aren't exhaust pipes, I know. I get it, okay? But the assembly, to be able to take out James Bond, shaken, not stirred, is kind of funky looking, right? You've got a few different type of pieces here, and then you have this giant plastic glass assembly that is the rear window and the side windows. Now, the rear windshield window, whatever you want to call it, has a clear space, and then it has some printing around it, has some silver, and then it has the gray to match the car, right? And then it has all this clear glass. It has some bricks and stuff that are on top of it, but really nothing weird, over the top. It's just fun. It's absolutely just fun. The seats can fold down, believe it or not. Your seats, they actually look nice. James Bond comes with a wrench because that's important. Down in the cockpit, you have some controls. Obviously, you have your steering wheel. You have some other things that are down in there, which James Bondish stuff, and the bad dude. Or not the bad dude, to mess up the bad dudes. You have your rear seat. I like the way that is done. I essentially just use it for storage of all the extra license plates, which are nice to have just in general. You can take out the front windscreen, whatever you want to call it. It is only held in by two simple little studs here because everything else is tiled. So it is nice to be able to have that just to be able to get James in and out very easily. I like the gear shift mechanism here. The only thing that's kind of wonky to me is that it's kind of naked. When you look through it, you can actually see through the bottom of the car. It's just that chassis piece that they use, the big piece that they use, which is not a bad thing. It's just the way it is. So James himself is wearing his tux, beautifully black tux. He's got some, what is, I'm assuming to be white. It looks more silvery here. He's got his bow tie. He's got his beautiful hairpiece, and he only has one face. He does have the peachish, humanish colored skin for his hands and his face. So if that's a bother for you, you're like, I don't like those. Well, it's going to be here, so get over it. But you do get the extra license plate pieces, which are always good as well. There's a number of them. I've not seen a whole bunch of James Bond movies. I don't really know what they are for or what the purpose of them is. But you get 4 different sets of James Bond license plates to add to what you already have on the car, which is always a good thing for some people. Aside from that, I really like the way this build is done. As I said, I find this car sexy. There's something about it, the way that it is designed. Chris and his team did an exquisite job with this thing. I just absolutely love it. I love it. You can play with it on the floor. You can pick it up. You can the 8-wide Speed Champions, in my mind, was a game changer. I had a bunch of the 6 wide. I had a bunch of them. I didn't start from the very beginning, but once they came out with the 8 wide, I was all in, all aboard, and I've got all of them. I absolutely love the way that they're done. So as a whole, I think this car is absolutely worth it. If you're a Speed Champions person, yes, of course, this is a must. There's not even a second thought about it. You know, the gray here is absolutely awesome the whole way through. It's just a great build. It was a fun little thing. I like I said, the way the how they got the sloping of the front of the vehicle for the hood, which you may think, oh, that's not that big of a deal, but it has to work that way, right? It's not something like, oh, well, it's not that major, but the designer still had to accomplish it. They still had to be able to get that fall from the windshield to the front bumper. Like, they had to get it done. So it's a super duper car. I love it. I think it's awesome. I just love it. I think it's sexy. There you go. The next one we're going to talk about is the Fast and the Furious 1970 Dodge Charger RT 76912 is the set number. It has 345 pieces. It is a $20 set here in the US or €25 elsewhere. This thing is super chunky. Is chunky the right word here? This thing is nice. I like the way this is done. I talked to a number of people that have built the Technic version of this, and they like this way better. Obviously. This movie is a classic. It's iconic, right? It was perfectly primed for its time. What I found super fascinating was how they did the front end of this body to be able to capture the radiator and the lights and stuff like that. And the techniques that were used aren't something that you're like, whoa, that is way over the top. But to have 2 studs sticking out on the side, on each side of the vehicle, is not something you usually come across. Right? Usually Lego doesn't allow studs to stick out on the side on vehicles like this. Usually it's on the top, or it might be out on the rear or something like that. Maybe even in the front, but not on the sides. It was really weird, and I found it very bizarre, but I absolutely love the way it was done. Anyway, so the car as a whole is a beautiful car. It is pure black. I mean, just like the film, it is absolutely pure black. In my mind, this is a great rendition of the car from the film, but it still leaves some things to be desired. Does not capture the scale, in my opinion. There's still something funky every time I look at it about the body, and I'm like, okay, it's Dom's car at the end of the film, but it's not Dom's car. You know, this almost reminds me of something of... Well, we're not going to get into that. that might not be safe for work or children. But there's something here I just can't quite figure out. And I don't know what it is. Now, what you do have a nice little roll cage that is kind of built in here. Obviously, it's not effective in this case, but it is nice to have. You have your NOS bottle that is down in there. You have your gear shift, which is pretty nice to just have that pretty cool looking piece. You have a wrench as well with Dom. He does have a single face, and he is looking pretty intense. You know, he is also a peach color as well. But I like the sloping of the rear windshield and how the windshield is one slope of degree, and then the other pieces, the slopes that they use back there, it just changed things up just ever so slightly. The gas tank sticker in the back, that's a nice mention as well. The door handles are gorgeous in the way that they were designed. They used the roller skate piece underneath a tile, and it just looks perfect. There's no other piece on Lego's inventory that would have sold it better than that. A sticker would have looked like crap. Simple as that. Now, you couldn't have had a sticker here just due to the sheer fact that you have so many plates that are stacked up. A sticker wouldn't have worked here. So they had to figure out something, and they figured out something really, really well, by the way. The door, even the door, the hinges look to be exposed. They're not. These doors don't open, by the way. It's just some tileage that is going on in there, those cheese wedge tiles that is in there. I like the wheel printed wheel rims that they have here, the hubcaps here. I like the black and the silver. I think that's pretty sharp in the way that is done. You have a Charger sticker that is in the front with the grill as well. Some really sharp looking lights. The front end of this thing looks aggressive. You got a giant blower that's sticking out the top of the engine. It screams power. It screams aggression. It screams car guy. It screams Fast and Furious. It screams everything that I was in 2000, I think it was 2001 the movie came out. All I know is I remember sitting in the theater and I'm like, as a poor kid, I'm like, man, I wish I had a car like that. It'd be awesome. Totally not technically inclined in that way, so that was never going to happen. I was never going to be able to build one of my own. Anyway, with that in mind, let's roll to the back here. The rear lights of this are sharply done. The rear deck has a kind of an interesting way that it's done. Not interesting in the way that it's never been done before, like this piece. It's a nice choice. It's a really nice choice in the way that it does. It gets that nice soft slope for the rear end, but I absolutely love the lights back here. You have two 1x2 tiles that have a black stripe across the top of them, and then you have two 1x1 tiles in the translucent red, just like the other lights that I was talking about, that have a black stripe on the top and bottom, just to get that smooth look the whole way across. There are also some pieces back here that are printed as well. You have some 1x3s that are printed back here. Those are, nice to have, nice little pieces, and they have a little black on the one side. And then you have your license plate. This is not printed. It is a sticker, but it is California 2JRI424. I don't remember that from the movie. You also have your exhaust pipes, your dual exhaust pipes on the back end. Those look nice as well. Those are maneuverable. Obviously, you're not maneuverable when you're driving this thing, but they are definitely maneuverable. The roof of the car does come off, not the same way the James Bond one does. It does come off just differently, in a nice way. You don't have to really remove anything from studs. It is kind of a cool build in the way that it is done, especially for the rear end behind Dom's head. I like the way that is done. I also really like the way that they did the blower in the engine, a few Technic pieces, a few clicky pieces, a few 1x1 plates, round plates in here, just different stuff, and it gives you a different feel, different emotion. But by all means, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. There's something missing in it, and I've spent time looking at it. Aside from reviewing it, aside from building it, I've just spent time looking at it. I'm like, what is it that is missing? What curve is missing, or what length or width or something? There's just something askew in the build in comparison to the actual model, and I just cannot put my finger on it. And it drives me up the wall, because every time, and this thing has been sitting on my desk, so every time I come into my desk, to record an episode and stuff, do some work, I look at it, I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's almost kind of like, what is wrong with you? You're shaking it. Why can't you be normal? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it, but it is a cool car. It's $20. I mean, $20, you get what you're paying for, right? But for me, both of these at $20, I think they're pretty solid for what they are, especially because it's not just a car. It's iconic for films, right? These James Bond movies are known throughout the world, whether you go back to Sean Connery days, or I don't even know who the newest dude is, but my God. And then you go to Fast and the Furious, and everybody knows that one. Everybody knows Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, and, I'm a dude. Those girls in there, teenager, and I'm like, hello, all right. And now, puberty, right? Anyway, so with that in mind, cool sets. I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion here. If you're looking to pick them up, they are going to be available here in the next few days, so you can purchase those. Not too expensive. Add them to your Speed Champions collection, the 8 wide. If you're new into Speed Champions, or you're new into the 8 wide, this is definitely something to have. So with that in mind, we have some more stuff. I know last week I was like, oh, we got more stuff. A little bit of chaos happening with this house that we are currently in trying to sell with so many showings and just the chaos behind it. I feel like December all over again. But I do have the spaceship built right next to me. I do have the Technic stuff built right next to me. And I also have the Atari built right next to me. So all of that goody greatness, perfect world, Lego, whatever, I don't know, is going to be coming soon. And then next week, I don't know when next week. I'm trying to hammer out the interview yet. But I have a person that is brand new to Lego that is absolutely jumped off the deep end. And you're going to get to hear that story next week, probably late next week. So be looking for that. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.